Hello everybody! Today we're talking about my favorite part of storytelling, characters. I love crafting characters. You're building human beings or human adjacents from your own imagination. It's kind of like playing God, and honestly, I'm super down for that. The problem is character creation is really tough for a lot of writers. They overanalyze the process, they check for proper archetypes, they make it clunky and calculated as opposed to the art form it is. I'm here to change that. Not only is character creation one of my favorite parts of the writing process, it's also something that I am known for, and I have a buttload of tips to set you off on the right path. Problem is, we don't have time for a buttload of tips, so I've decided to focus on one segment at a time. Today, I am breaking down my 10 best tips for writing realistic characters. If your issue is realism, if you're not sure if your characters are believable or relatable, don't fret, my pet. Let me show you the way. I may or may not have saved the most painful tip for last, but I did it because I care. Actually, I did it because I'm a bitch. What were you expecting? Before we get started, a huge thank you to Pro Writing Aid for sponsoring today's video. Pro Writing Aid is an incredible platform. It's not just a spell checker, it's also a grammar checker and a style editor with tons of education, including reports, articles, videos, and quizzes to strengthen your writing. If you don't understand one of the editing suggestions, just click the little orange eye in the corner and it'll give you a detailed explanation plus some videos to help you understand the why behind each suggestion. That's what's so great about Pro Writing Aid. It's not just going to help edit your work, it helps you understand those mistakes and how to avoid them so you can become a better, stronger writer. One of the features I love is the summary report, which basically helps you set up an editing roadmap. It shows what parts of your writing are looking great, what needs some work, and it gives you highlights for each of the key reports so you know where to focus your time and energy. Now, some people say you don't need to hone your skills because that's what hiring an editor is for. And those people are idiots. You should never send a first draft to an editor. You need to edit that manuscript yourself first. Plus, the cleaner your manuscript, the smaller your editing bill, and the more likely you will be releasing a quality book to the masses. That's why Pro Writing Aid is such an asset to all writers. You can try Pro Writing Aid out for free. However, right now, they are holding a Black Friday sale and their premium platform is 50% off. 50%, you guys! Half the price! Click the link below, check them out, you won't regret it, and you won't get a deal like this for a long time. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos on Wednesdays, and if you want to be alerted as soon as I upload, ring that bell. And if you enjoy your dark fantasy with a hefty dose of romance and action, check out my #1 best-selling dark fantasy romance novels, The Savior's Champion and The Savior's Sister. They're available in paperback, hardback, audiobook, and ebook. I got them linked below. Check them out. Now let's break down my 10 tips for writing realistic characters that your readers can relate to. Number 1, observe. One of the most common questions I get about writing characters is, how do I write a blank character? How do I write a mean character? How do I write a heroic character? How do I write a likable character? Another version of this question is, what traits should I give to a character to make them redeemable? What traits should I give to a character to make them likable? In situations like this, writers are looking for a formula. Just add a drop of this trait and a dash of this cliche, and behold, you've written a pile of shit. The problem is these writers ignore the obvious. You are around people every day of your life. Even if you're a recluse like myself, you see them on TV. You communicate with them on the internet. Observe them. If you want your characters to be redeemable, what do you personally find redeemable among humankind? If you want your character to be likable, what do you personally like in a human being? It's really that simple. Stop trying to overcomplicate realism. If you're looking for a formula, you're doing it wrong. See people. Talk to people. Pay attention to what you like and what you dislike. Experience is one of the biggest assets to your writing. Utilize it. Number 2, dimensions. Whenever someone says this character is the comic relief or this character is the damsel in distress, I cringe. Sometimes we generalize for the sake of brevity, but if you are genuinely writing your characters in this format with one dimension in mind, then you are making a huge mistake. fake. I promise you, they are not realistic. Real people, even the shallowest people, have dimensions. They do not exist to fulfill a single expectation. They have strengths, weaknesses, goals, insecurities. These are things you should be fleshing out in your characters, their wants, their desires, their fears, their quirks. If you're looking at your characters and realizing they're completely one note, congratulations, you done fucked up. Give them some dimensions or readers will come for you. Which brings us to number 3, character profiles. The easiest way to start building complex, realistic characters is through character profiles. A character profile is kind of like a social media profile for a fictional person, except instead of filling out their favorite book and favorite food, you are filling out important details about their actual life. You are listing everything from their culture and race to their physical description and sexuality. Personality, values, beliefs, economic class, all of that goes into the character profile. This is where you can get incredibly detailed. What is their gender expression? What is their hair texture? I could list everything you should include in a character profile right now, but we will be here all day. Plus, I've already got a video on that. It's linked below. Create character profiles for any character that occurs regularly enough in your novel to warrant one. It will absolutely help with their realism. Number 4, the cishet white, conventionally attractive, able-bodied, neurotypical, mentally healthy male does not exist. Okay, he does, but he exists in very small numbers. A lot of writers craft their characters and go with what they believe is the default. This usually means a cisgendered straight character, typically male, sometimes female. They're white, they're conventionally attractive, they have no physical disabilities, they have no mental illnesses of any kind, and they are neurotypical. And they are often either very muscular and athletic, or they are very trim and petite. I am sure this person exists, but I do not know a single human being who fits this description. Even if we look at people who tick a lot of the boxes, for example, my fiance is a cishet white, conventionally attractive man, but he is physically disabled. And a lot of people look like they tick all the boxes, but maybe they have ADHD or PTSD or a chronic illness. Every single person on this planet knows someone who is queer, someone with a mental illness, and of course, we all know people of color. This world is a big ol' mashup of different kinds of people, and if you are not taking all of them into consideration, I promise you, you are not writing realistic characters. Number 5, people share traits. This character is the hero, this character is the virgin, this character is the bully, and this book is the worst. Obviously, certain characters are going to fill specific roles. For example, the protagonist, the antagonist, and the love interest. But when it comes to defining specific traits, you don't gotta be choosy. I don't know if you know this, but more than one person can be an asshole at a time. The asshole gene doesn't have to be limited to your villain. Likewise, your hero doesn't have to be the only one with a moral compass, your love interest doesn't have to be the only one who's attractive, and your comic relief doesn't have to be the only one who's funny. None of this is realistic at all. Yes, my fiance is gorgeous, but I know a lot of beautiful people. My fiance is also super funny, but does that mean other funny people suddenly don't exist? That's just stupid. Don't feel the need to pick and choose character traits as if it's one and done. People have things in common in the real world, so why not reflect that in the fictional world as well? On the flip side, number 6, people are not identical. Just because characters share traits does not mean they are carbon copies of one another. Two characters can be funny, but do they express the same brand of humor? A perfect example of this done very poorly is the movie Easy A. All the characters have the same sarcasm to the point where their dialogue is interchangeable, and it completely ruined the realism of the film. Another horrid example of this is the movie Beastly, and we all know how that went. Down in flames. Everyone spoke in the same wannabe teen angst slam poetry manner. It was silly and embarrassing, and most importantly, it wasn't at all realistic. So again, yes, your characters can share traits. They can have things in common, but that doesn't mean they're identical or that they speak identically. Calm down. Number 7, realism doesn't mean info dumping. A lot of newbie writers believe that in order to create realistic characters, we have to info dump. We need to provide every detail about the character, their entire backstory, their deepest scars and wounds. And yes, it is very helpful to know this information about the character. It will help you craft them in a realistic manner. But you do not need to include any information information in your novel unless it is necessary and beneficial to the plot. For example, it is always helpful to list a character's skin color. The skin is the largest organ on the human body, and it allows readers to visualize what they look like. But we do not need to know the details of their tragic backstory unless it has a direct relevance to the plot at hand. Tobias had a strained relationship with his father. I never mentioned it in The Savior's Champion because it was never relevant. Gather all the information you can about your characters, but choose the appropriate moments to reveal this information, and be honest with yourself about whether or not it needs to be revealed at all. Number 8, stop self-inserting. Self-inserting pretty much never results in realistic characters. Note I said self-inserts, not own voices. Own voices refers to writing characters from a group you belong to that is underrepresented in fiction. If you're autistic and you don't see enough autistic characters in fiction, so you decide to write one, that is own voices. It's also pretty normal to have a couple traits in common with some of your characters, just like it's pretty normal to have a couple traits in common with people you meet in real life. Tobias has brown curly hair, and so do I, along with a bazillion other people in this world. But a self-insert is when you base a character from head to toe on yourself. No one wants to read that shit. But Jenna, I'm basing the character off of a real person. That means it's realistic, right? You'd think so, but typically self-inserts are you plus a whole lot of flourish. They're the hotter, smarter, more badass version of you. They're the version of you that always saves the day and gets the girl. It's tacky and embarrassing to read. If you want your characters to be realistic at all, do not do this. Number 9, quirks matter. I'm using the word quirks for lack of a better term. Personality, eccentricities, uniqueness, these things matter when you are crafting your characters. No, I am not talking about manic pixie dream girls. I'm talking about the traits, however small, that add to your character's uniqueness. They make them distinctive. Is your character from another country? Maybe because of that, they are multilingual and their English isn't flawless because it's their second or third language. Is your character a warrior? Maybe they have exposed scars from years of battle. Is your character younger than the rest of the cast? Maybe they speak with age-appropriate slang that the other characters can't understand. These are the details you want to consider. What history, experiences, and cultural differences separate this character from the rest? This is one of my favorite parts of character creation because you get to be super creative and make each and every one of your characters special in their own way. Last but not least, number 10, ask people. I know you don't want anyone to read your work before it's published. People might steal your brilliant ideas. They don't want to steal them. Trust me. But you're never gonna know if you hit the mark unless you get people to read your characters. I'm talking beta readers, critique partners, sensitivity readers, and oh my god, editors. People need to read your book. But Jenna, what if they don't like it? Then fix it, dummy. Wouldn't you rather know your characters suck before publication as opposed to after? At least before publication, you can have a good cry and then fix your fucking book. And no, not all beta reader and critique partner feedback will be correct because people are inherently flawed. But that's why we have multiple people read our book. We look for trends among feedback. And I'm not talking about having your best friend or your mom or your wife read your book. I mean complete strangers who are totally comfortable tearing you to shreds. Clench your butt cheeks and do the work, bitch. Look, you're the one who wanted to write a book. You wanted the readership, and this is what it takes. Have people read your work, look for trends in their responses, and give all of their feedback honest consideration. If these people can relate to your characters, you're on the right track. So that's all I got for you today. A huge thank you again to Pro Writing Aid for sponsoring today's video. If you need help with your grammar, your spelling, your style, and I know you do, check out Pro Writing Aid. Right now you can get 50% off their premium platform through Black Friday. So you're not gonna get a deal like this in a long time. Check them out, I got them linked below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, I post new videos on Wednesdays, and if you want to be alerted as soon as I upload, ring that bell. The Savior Champion and the Savior Sister are available in ebook, paperback, hardback, and audiobook. They're available all over the place, so if you want to get some copies for yourself, you want to get some copies for family, you want to get some copies for friends, you totally should. I got them linked below. And be sure to follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, and BookBub, and of course you can tweet me at Jenna Moreci. Bye!
This is Musumi. Per orders, you must subscribe to Jenna's channel and ring that bell. Your sovereign commands it. Any deviation from his word will be penalized harshly, so if you know what's good for you, subscribe.